everyone. We are here today to talk about the critical skill of telling stories with data. What makes a visualization effective? This was put together by Jacob, Angelina, Carson, and myself, Anthony. As data becomes more abundant, the ability to present it clearly and effectively is what separates simple reporting from impactful communication. It's not enough to just have the numbers, you have to make them mean something to your audience. We'll be covering the key criteria for effective visuals, looking at both good and bad real world examples, and showing you how we applied these principles in our own work. So, criteria for effective visuals. What makes a visualization truly effective? We've boiled it down to 5 main criteria that guide our design process. First and foremost is clarity and accuracy. The data must be correct, and the visual must clearly represent the data without misinterpretation. Second, it needs simplicity and readability. A cluttered chart loses its audience quickly, so keep it clean. Third, you must use the appropriate chart for the data. A line chart for a trend over time, a bar chart for comparing categories, and so on. Choosing the wrong type can completely distort the message. Fourth, we look at effective color and labeling. Color should be intentional, not just decorative, and labels should guide the user's eye to the key takeaways. And finally, the design must be audience focused, support the storytelling. You should always be asking, who is my audience and what action do I want them to take? Let's look at a prime example of effective data visualization. The New York Times COVID-19 tracker. This was an essential interactive map and time series visualization that tracked US COVID-19 case rates by county. It was updated daily and included filters for states and counties and time periods. Why it's effective. The design success came from its simplicity and consistency. The color scaling was clear, making it easy to see where cases were highest at a glance. The interactive filters allowed users to dive into their specific local context. Most importantly, it was designed for a general audience, providing a clear, trustworthy source of information during a global crisis. The main chart clearly shows trends over time, and the smaller charts offer context on related metrics like test positivity, hospitalizations, and deaths. On the flip side, here's an example of a visualization that falls short. Title Max's infographic on companies owned by Disney. This infographic was meant to show all the companies Disney owns worldwide. It was designed in the shape of Mickey Mouse's head, kind of obvious there, using circles filled with logos and labels. Why it's ineffective. The creative design choice actually hindered its purpose. It's too cluttered, making it hard to follow any structure. The poor color contrast and inconsistent use of color make it unreadable in many sections. The circles create a false sense of hierarchy. The size or placement of a circle doesn't actually tell you how important a company is. In this case, a tree map would have been a much better choice to show the hierarchy and composition of Disney's ownership. So how we built our visuals. We started by importing and cleaning our COVID-19 dataset in Tableau. Accurate data is the foundation of an effective story. Next, we identified the key variables we wanted to compare to answer our research questions. We then selected appropriate chart types for each relationship, matching the chart to the data's story. After building the charts, we focused on refinement, applying proper coloring, filters, and labels for clarity. Finally, we evaluated the final design based on the same criteria we just discussed. For our first visual, this shows you the latest number of cases by WHO region. We chose a simple horizontal bar chart because it's the most effective way to compare different categories, especially when the category names are long, like Southeast Asia. It clearly demonstrates that the Americas region has the highest number of confirmed cases, making that insight immediately obvious. Visual 2 highlights the latest weekly percentage increase in cases for different countries. For this data, we used a heat map style table. This design is highly effective because the blue shading immediately shows you the severity. You don't have to read every number. You can see that Papua New Guinea and Gambia have the highest percentage increases because their bars are the darkest blue. The list format also makes it easy to read specific percentages and comparing neighboring values. Our final visual, the latest COVID-19 outcomes in the US, compares confirmed cases, deaths, and recovered cases. We used a bar chart because it dramatically depicts the major difference in scale between confirmed cases and deaths. This visual is designed to tell a quick, clear story. The vast majority of confirmed cases do not result in death, a critical piece of context. So how effective were our visuals? We used our own criteria to evaluate our own work, which we recommend you always do. For clarity, Visual 1 quickly shows the difference in cases by region. Visual 2 tells the story fast and effectively with blue shading. And Visual 3 shows the major difference in cases, the deaths clearly. For accuracy, all three visuals were built from live data pulled from the COVID-19 dataset on Kaggle, ensuring we had a reliable foundation. For color and design, for Visual 1, the different colors help differentiate the regions. Visual 2 again uses blue shading to show the severity. And in Visual 3, the y-axis is critical in depicting the large difference in values, preventing the smaller death count from being visually ignored. In conclusion, our biggest takeaways from this process are that visuals must tell a story, not just show numbers. Every chart should have a clear purpose and a single dominant takeaway. Simplicity and clarity matter more than creative design. As we saw with the Disney example, a complex or overly creative design can destroy readability. Color and layout play a strong role to help project info. Use them intentionally to highlight key data points. And finally, always design with your audience in mind. What does your specific audience need to know, and what will motivate them to act? That is the end of our showcase. Thank you for your time. We are happy to answer any questions, comments, or concerns. You can reach us here at our emails listed on this slide. Again, thank you very much for your time and attention to our showcase.